Hello, love. We got some books from Bookstock. As I reported previously, I've never seen so many comatose half-wits at a book sale, but that's what happened this go around. Really need to do my window. Anyway, let's start. I only got about $30 worth of books. Most of these were $1 or more because the place is high priced, but I mean, it's a decent sale. The Memories of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Obviously, everyone knows who the fuck Conan Doyle and Sherlock Holmes is, but since this was a vintage book, probably 60s, 70s, 63, 63, I got it to go to my collection of Sherlock Holmes, which I've never read once. So there's an old standard bearer, Robinson Jeffers selected poems. Probably have 3 copies of this, but can't pass Jeffers up for $1. This guy wrote all kinds of notes, which is fine. Can't leave Jeffers behind. Never heard of Eugene Zamyatin, but it's a brilliant satire that is both a classic of the utopian novel and an historic landmark in modern Russian literature. Plus, it's a mass market paperback, and it's got a great cover. Let's read what it's about. A boot. The year 1924 is one of special significance in modern Russian literature. For in that year, E.P. Dutton issued the first English translation, indeed the first version anywhere in the world, of Eugene Zamyatin's bitter and brilliantly prophetic satire, We, recognized as the inspiration for George Orwell's 1984 and never published in Russia because of official censorship. We is generally regarded as a classic utopian novel and an historic landmark in Soviet literature. We tells the story of the minutely organized United States. Well, where all citizens are not individuals, but only he numbers and she numbers existing in identical glass apartments with every action regulated by the table of hours. It is a community dedicated to the proposition that freedom and happiness are incompatible. That most men believe their freedom to be more than a fair exchange for a high level of materialistic happiness. The republication of Zamyatin's We is the inexpensive reprint. And this inexpensive reprint is a literary event of first importance. The original translation has been especially revised by Dr. Zilberg for this edition. Philosophical as Plato's The Republic, interesting as the best utopias of H.G. Wells, cold as the muzzle of a loaded revolver, and sarcastic as Gulliver's Travel. We is a powerful challenge to all socialist utopias. Ward 6 and Other Stories by Anton Chekhov. Again, I got it because of the cover and because it was only a book. I don't know what Ward 6 is about. These 6 stories here, presented in memorable new translations, represent Chekhov's narrative genius at the full range and power of its maturity, as masterfully constructed as his earlier stories, but with far greater richness and dimension. They deal with human beings suffering the pain of existence, their lives illumined by the author's rigorous objectivity. The novella Ward 6, with its hauntingly symbolic depiction of the world of an insane asylum, the duel. I'm not reading on this. The Devils of Loudon by Aldous Huxley. It's got 2 benefits of it. One is an ex libris plate, which is not exactly old, but Then we have The Devil's Old Loudon, which was a book about witchcraft, I do believe. Witches. It was in 1605 that Joseph Hall, the satirist and future bishop, made his first visit to Flanders. Along our way, how many churches saw we demolished, nothing left but rude heaps to tell the passenger, there hath been both devotion and hostility. Oh, the miserable footsteps of war, but which I wondered at. Churches fall and Jesuits' college rise everywhere. There is no city where these are not rearing or built. Whence cometh this? Is it for that devotion is not so necessary as policy? These men, as we say of the fox, fare best when they are most cursed. None so much spited of their own, none so hated of all, none so opposed of by ours. And yet these ill weeds grow. They grew for a very simple and sufficient reason. The public wanted them. For the Jesuits themselves, policy is Hall. Anyway, it's about witches, I do believe. Because I have another copy of this book. Demoniac nuns and such, the persons with whom in an intimacy that was a compound of the intimacies existing between gynecologist and patient, trainer and animal, adored psychiatrist and loquacious neurotic. Huxley was one of the great writers, but most of his books tend to be boring, except for after many a day, many a summer dies the swan. But this book by Edwin Arlington Robinson, because it's a book of sonnets, and I collect sonnets because I'm a champ. Plus, it has the dust jacket. I don't know what fucking half-wit son of a bitch put a price sticker on a 70-year-old book dust jacket, but now this is fucking marred for the rest of its existence. Dumb fucks. Laura Christmas, Vivian, 1928. Pity of the leaves, vengeful across the cold November moors. Loud with ancestral shame there came the bleak, sad wind that shrieked and answered with a shriek, reverberant through lonely corridors. The old man heard it, and he heard perforce words out of lips that were no more to speak. Words of the past that shook the old man's cheek like dead, remembered footsteps on old floors. And then there were the leaves that plagued him so, the brown thin leaves that on the stones outside skipped with a freezing whisper. Now and then they stopped and stayed there, just to let him know how dead they were. But if the old man cried, they fluttered off like withered souls of men. Just so lovely. Just lovely. Who the fuck is out in front of my house? Playing shitty music. Like fucking new jazz. Look like they're fucking stoned out of their minds. Please keep driving. Peter Lovesey, Rough Cider. This thing had two appealing aspects to it. One, it has a Mylar jacket on it, which wasn't worth the $3 price I paid, but it is signed by Peter Lovesey. And I've seen it sold for 45, 50 bucks, so it's now mine. I will probably take the little jacket off. Might even fit on there. Take the little jacket off, even though the cover's pretty cool, and sell it on eBay. The Magician of Lublin, a novel by Isaac Bashevis Singer. I only got this because of the cover, which looks like tarot cards. Might not be, but that's what it looked like to me. And the used copy on eBay is like 12 bucks, so might as well get this. Even though $3 is way too much for it. I got it. Why is this fucking Chumbawamba fuck sitting outside my car playing on his phone listening to jazz? Maybe it's rap. Fuck out of here. Bewitching jewelry. New modes and occult charms. What, you gonna go to fucking profile or landscape? No, you're not. Bewitching jewelry. Opens the occult showcase of amulets and talismans. It examines the glittering and mystic trappings of the supernatural. Learn what the well-dressed witches are wearing and why. Rip away the ritual robe and peek at the pendants, bracelets, rings, and necklaces of witchcraft. Amulets and talisman are among the most powerful of all psychic baubles. Mysticism is universal, and amulets are common to all people. Talismans act more as lures to make things happen. Amulets are usually used as shields to safeguard the wearer from misfortunes. This guy's getting his coat on. Or he's taking it off. One of the two. Psychics claim that an amulet possesses supernatural powers. While a talisman may be a piece of jewelry or an object that has been endowed with special powers through occult ceremonies, almost any object may become a talisman. Choosing the right amulets and talismans for your black arts jewelry box may help you become happier, healthier, and wealthier. All right. This witch's jewel case exhibits the ornamental wonders that may help you achieve goals and fulfill ambitions. Learn how to recognize the pieces of bewitching jewelry that many men and women are wearing. You will know what people are trying to accomplish just by observing their occult jewelry. Is your closest friend trying to revitalize her mate by wearing this special medallion? Should you wear a certain item to stop gossip? Will the piece of jewelry and the right ritual words really get rid of a headache? Is it possible for some occult jewelry to increase your confidence? Amulets and talisman may do all these things. Some occult stones and metals may be used for solving romantic problems. The Rasta boys are out here now. They must be buying some fucking dope. Insect rings are not as common as those with animals on them. So that's a little spell to say. Coleopterus magnificent, Coleopterus blessed, Coleopterus beloved, Coleopterus eternal. If the beetle dies, that is all right. Voodoo dolls for love or hate are rather popular pendants bought by tourists. What the fuck is going on here? Basic bewitching tools. Jewelry of the black arts. Oh God, it's a cult. Look at this. As the sun shines right on the Satan head. Look at this fucking creeper. Alright, that's a cool book. Bewitching jewelry. These guys wrote it. Jesus Christ. Look at that hair on Barbara. Lovely. Farewell. Farewell.